What's going on, movie fans? It's me, the X-Men guy, and today, since it should be Halloween, by this by the time this video is uploaded, I want to talk to you guys about something spooky, something scary. Today we're talking about dead cinematic universes. So, ever since the Marvel started their own cinematic universe with their characters, and I don't know if you knew this, but it was very successful. Other studios have been trying to replicate it with their IP. So let's get into the first universe.
That's a question. That's a question.
First up, we have the TASM universe. Now, this universe isn't as much as a cinematic universe as it is a bunch of movies leading up to a sequel to those movies that was going to bring together characters from the previous movies. So, basically, in The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, we saw the Sinister Six basically slowly get introduced, what was all supposed to culminate in The Amazing Spider-Man 3. Now, the most pivotal evidence of this plan is the post-credit scene for The Amazing Spider-Man 2, where a hooded figure, I think it's hooded figure with a fedora, who we still, I'm pretty sure to this day, are not sure who it was supposed to be, visits, I believe, the Green Goblin in a cell, walking by Oscorp things. I think the Vulture was there, Doc Ock's tentacles was there, all of that leading up to a Sinister Six crossover in The Amazing Spider-Man 3. However, this never came to fruition because The Amazing Spider-Man flopped critically, and the MCU asked Sony, hey, can we borrow Spider-Man? And they said yes. And who knew? Tom Holland's Spider-Man was really, really popular. So they abandoned the idea of The Amazing Spider-Man, and they never got to make The Amazing Spider-Man 3 with the Sinister Six. But the best thing that comes out of this is that we did get to see a Sinister 5 in No Way Home, consisting of some of those characters. So I think No Way Home would be a million times better than what we could have gotten in The Amazing Spider-Man 3. But yeah, on to the next universe.
Run!
Our next dead universe is the Dark Universe. Now, a little bit of background information behind this. Back in the 30s and 40s, Universal made a bunch of iconic horror movies centered around what have now become known as the Universal Monsters. This included The Invisible Man, The Mummy, Dracula, Frankenstein, The Bride of Frankenstein, Swamp Monster, Creature from the Black Lagoon is all the same thing. And basically, they made all these movies, got really successful, and in the 2010s, Universal decided we're going to make a universe surrounded by this. But they made the mistake of not having direction. And as you'll see, not having direction or having a troubled production will kill these universes. So Universal wanted to make this universe, and they decided, hey, we have a Dracula Untold film in the making already. Let's turn that into the first film of our universe. And that was a mild film. It wasn't a horrible flop, but it wasn't the next Avengers Endgame. So after that, they decided their next movie was going to be The Mummy. Now, with The Mummy, it was the true start of the universe. There was a picture that had all the cast that was supposed to be leading this whole universe, and it turns out none of them even met, and it was all photoshopped together. The trailer for The Mummy was accidentally posted on YouTube without any music, so there was just awkward screaming in the background without any music. It was really weird. And by far the worst thing they did was to get Tom Cruise to star in the Mummy movie. They let him take insane creative liberties which made him almost rewrite the whole film to make his character a little more of a major character, and it ended up impacting the movie. Now this movie was not met well by critics, and Universal basically took a pause. It was like, is this really going to be the cash cow that we think it will be? And they ultimately decided to pull the plug on the universe. And once they did that, they still released Invisible Man, but not part of the universe. And it ended up being very well received. So, what do you think? Should this universe have gone on? But anyways, let's go to the next universe. Our next universe has barely any information on it. It was hard to even find a video talking about this universe. But our next universe is Will Smith's After Earth universe. Now, in 2013, Will Smith made a movie called After Earth, and it was basically set a few thousand years in the future after Earth had basically rejected humans, and it starred Will Smith and his son, Jaden Smith. And after the movie released, critics hated it. Audiences hated it. Nobody enjoyed After Earth. And basically they pulled the plug on the universe right there. But what was this universe? Well, apparently, After Earth was supposed to launch a giant connected cinematic universe that was supposed to center around Jaden Smith. And while there's not a lot of information about it, we do know that it was supposed to happen. This is one of the more mysterious universes that I researched, and if anybody has any idea about it, please leave it in the comments, because I actually want to learn more about this universe. But anyway, on to the next universe.
No!
Hello, Georgie.
Our next universe is probably the most ambitious of all of them, and it was actually done before, but in the form of books. This universe is Stephen King's universe, and it basically revolved around one movie in particular, Dark Tower. Dark Tower was a book before it was a movie, as most of Stephen King's movies are, and it was basically connected all of Stephen King's work, from It to The Shining. All of it was connected, and Stephen King attempted to do this in movie form. Now, when he did this in Dark Tower, you can see a picture of Pennywise. It was supposed to basically launch off with Dark Tower, It, and It Chapter 2. And it didn't exactly pan out, because Dark Tower didn't go down well with critics or fans of the source material. For critics, they said that the mythology was too confusing. They couldn't get behind it. And for fans of the source material, well, they thought they changed the mythology too much to be directed towards the general audience and critics. So it eventually failed. However, we did get two good movies, It and It Chapter 2, out of it. So that is a highlight. But they decided not to go forward with this universe, what could have actually been really cool, because, as I mentioned earlier, Stephen King has a lot of good movies that could have just been retconned into this, like Pet Sematary or The Shining. But anyway, what do you think about this universe? On to the next one.
All right, Joker, you're getting your keister right back to Arkham Asylum. What's this?
This next universe is probably the most public fail and the most famous universe other than the MCU. This is the DC Entertainment Universe. And it all started with DC and Warner Bros. Looking over at Marvel, seeing how good they were doing with their superhero IP, and thinking, we can do that. However, what DC did was they jumped the gun and tried to catch up with Marvel too quickly. Let me explain. In 2013, they released Superman Man of Steel, and it was actually really well received. People loved it. It was directed by Zack Snyder. All the Snyder fans loved it. And although there were a few people, or not a few people, a pretty sustainable group that didn't like how Superman was a little more violent in this, which is, it's reasonable. But overall, people liked it. And the next movie in this universe was, I believe, Batman vs. Superman. Now, Batman vs. Superman was good, but it was a step down. Mainly because of Lex Luthor, and a whole... It was a really messy movie. And one of the worst parts was Lex Luthor. He had hair for some reason. He was Lex Luthor, the real Lex Luthor's son, and he really wanted to make people eat hard candy.
It's cherry.
The movie also culminated in the death of Superman, and the conflict between Batman and Superman really culminated in a weird, to say the least, way. It was basically just, I forget who, one of them said Martha, and the other one was like, wait, my mom's name is Martha too. And they stopped fighting. I'm sure there's probably like a reason beyond that was actually a good reason, but to say the least, it was a little weird. Then we make it to the Justice League. Also there was a Wonder Woman movie. It was great. It was probably the best movie in the universe, and that's why I'm not talking about it that much, because this is about dead universes, and if the Wonder Woman universe, if the universe was like the Wonder Woman movie, it'd be a great universe. But anyway, where this universe really died, oh yeah, and the Suicide Squad was really bad. Not the Suicide Squad, but just the first Suicide Squad. Yeah, that wasn't nice. But anyway, what really killed this universe was its Justice League movie. So, in the Justice League movie, Zack Snyder was originally supposed to write, direct all of it. However, tragedy in his family struck, and he had to step away from the movie. And then Warner Bros. Decided, hey, let's hire Joss Whedon, the guy who's behind the comic Astonishing X-Men, which is great, and also the first two Avengers movies. Where can this go wrong? To put it shortly, it went wrong. Behind the scenes, it was a nightmare to work with Whedon, allegedly. And none of the cast wanted to pursue with the universe. I think this drove also, this was not a critically or audience well received film, and this drove the actor of Cyborg away. I'm sorry, I don't know his name. Henry Cavill away, which Superman comes back in this movie, by the way. It drove Ben Affleck away, and it all came crashing down. But it was salvageable. DC released the Snyder Cut, and although it's still not clear if that was canon or not, they had a few good hits, like Shazam and Aquaman, even though Shazam didn't make any profit. And then the next movie didn't make any profit, and then the next movie and the next movie and the next movie, they were all bombing at the box office, and it seemed like nobody had any interest in DC. And then Discovery purchased Warner Bros. And they decided to axe the Batgirl movie that was midway through production. Like, really far. Like, they were almost done the movie. But Warner Bros. Decided to axe it because of a tax write-off. And they brought in James Gunn and Peter Safran to reboot the universe. And that's where we are right now with that universe. The last movie in it already released. Blue Beetle and The Flash ended it. Oh no, sorry. There is one more movie, but it wouldn't be a DC EU movie without drama. Aquaman 2, of course, has drama around it, surrounding multiple of the stars, and it doesn't look like it's going to make a profit. But who knows? Maybe this will be a start of a new age of the DCEU, or what it will now be after Aquaman 2, the DCCU. But anyway, let's get on to our final universe. This next universe is another large universe that's still going on today, but has seemed to fail and fail and fail. It is the Sony Pictures. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. We are back finally after the long break. Share this video. We need to get above 33 subscribers because that's what my old channel is at. And if you're new, you didn't watch the old channel, share it too. Share it to everybody you know. Because share it to your grandma. Your grandma would love this video. Share it to every single person you know. And get them to subscribe to the X-Men Dude. And yeah. Bye.